What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Be Better podcast, episode 24, here with our special guest, Elizabeth Plancon. Elizabeth, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Very good. I just noticed my camera just went out of focus again. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Boom, boom. There we go. Cool. So, hey, I know, obviously, you told me a little bit more about yourself before the podcast, but for those out there who don't know who you are, other than you being an international selling best author, what else do you do? What makes you tick? Like, who are you?
Yeah, so like you said, I'm Elizabeth Plancon, and I am an intuitive manifestation mentor, healer, and activator. And so what I do is I basically love to help people get to their next level in life and really transform their life from the life that they're living to into the life that they want by, mastering their mindset, mastering manifestation, learning all about that, how they tick, and healing parts of them that are ready to let go, and then activating them into their next level.
I love that. I love that too. I think people's mindset is literally the differentiator between success and failure, right?
Sure,
I mean, you could be the most gifted, talented athlete, most smartest person alive, but if your mindset is in the toilet, your results are going to be in the toilet. So, where did this journey start for you? Because it's beautiful to meet people that think that way as well. Where did that start for you? Like, were you born with this, or did it just kind of develop?
I was definitely not born with a positive mindset or like lived that for most of my, I'm not that old, but like the first half of my adult life was not in a positive mindset, I would say. But it really first started when I started studying this material, is when I kind of got this pull to do something else in my life, what I was currently doing. I was working as an association manager, meeting planner, working with my mom straight out of college for 15 years, and was supposed to take over her company and take over the business. And I just started to have this pull, like, this isn't for me. This isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I'm supposed to be doing something bigger than this, or in a different way. And so I started to just kind of open myself up to studying, to receiving information. And I've always been intuitive. So I've always known I've had these, psychic gifts, intuition, and I never really took the time to develop them. I would try, and then it wouldn't really pan out. And then so when the world shut down in 2020 and we had all this time on our hands, that's when I started to like actually take the time to do these things for myself, develop my psychic and abilities, intuition, and my healing abilities. And then I found, one thing leads to the next. And I found my next mentor, who was a mindset and manifestation coach. And I had been dabbling it in a little bit, but wasn't really getting anywhere with what I wanted to accomplish. And so I enrolled in a program for that. And that completely changed and shifted my life. And some of you may know, or, have heard of Bob Proctor, but that is who program I had took. He's was one of the leading personal professional development leaders in the industry. He passed away, I believe, almost 2 years ago now, but that program and my mentor completely shifted my mindset, the way I looked at things, letting go of worries, letting go of stress, letting go of negativity. I mean, I hate to say it, I used to be a Karen. I used to be like, I want my way and I'm going to get my way. Let me speak to your manager and I'm going to argue with you until I do. And I'm completely not that person anymore. So that's kind of how I got started in all of this. And, when I was like searching for my purpose, like, what is it I'm going to do? It was like this light bulb moment, when my mentor said, we need more people to help others see this, to make the shift, to spread this information. And I was like, yes, this is it. This is how I want to help people. And it's evolved since then, like as becoming more of a mentor and, a healer and all those things. But that was a big part of my shift in, stepping into this role.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
something that you said there just initially here is huge, is the purpose side, right? I feel like it reminds me of the quote, like, all those who are alive are not actually living, right? And I believe that firmly because I think when a person, I always say a man because I'm a man, but when a person truly lacks purpose, right?
Yeah.
They just go with emotions, they lack purpose, their quality of life is terrible. Right. And people work these mundane jobs for 60 years and then they retire, have three not even good years, but 3 years left, and then they die, right? So
Yeah.
how do you prevent that? Finding true purpose.
Finding true purpose and what lights you up, because
Yeah.
then it doesn't feel like work, and then you really don't ever stop. right? Like
That's
you
right.
don't truly ever stop living in that purpose. You are continuing. There's no like, because it doesn't feel like a job that you want to retire from and not do it anymore, right?
Yeah, and it's funny that maybe, in fate's I believe in fate, honestly. So I feel like fate maybe put this all together here. You contacted Matt or Matt contacted you, and here we are on the podcast talking. But I've had a big revelation of purpose in the last 4 months myself. I've been in the
Yeah.
same industry for 10 years. I do very well in the industry that I'm in, and I do like it. But I don't go to bed every night with that sense of satisfaction, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
so I lacked purpose for a long time. I'm not going to announce what it is yet. That's going to be for a future date, but Matt knows what it is, of course. But I'm making big strides in my life to solve that purpose for me. And,
Hmm.
after playing with the idea in my head for the last 2 years around COVID, same as you,
Yeah.
weighing the pros and cons, readying myself for these life changes and things like that of that nature, you know, I'm doing the right thing in my direction to get that sense of purpose. And
Sure.
I know for a fact that's just going to make me much more satisfied as a human, much more happy as a human. I'm going to be able to lay my head down every night knowing that I made, I made a difference in some way. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what you're preaching here, right? I mean, people go through life without purpose, and it's just like you're just in the trial version of life unless you have purpose.
So, and a big thing about purpose, like really, I truly believe our purpose here in this world and this lifetime is to grow and to expand. And if you're not growing and expanding, and Bob used to say this, you're dying,
Yeah.
right? So it's kind of like to continue to evolve, we have to push ourselves, we have to challenge ourselves. That's part of our purpose. So if you're staying in this same place your whole life and just being in this content, energy, it's fine. That's fine. Like that's fine, if that's what makes you happy, right? But really, as a soul, on a soul level, we are a soul having a human experience, and our soul is here to grow and learn and expand and experience all that life has to offer. So we can do so much more with our lives and just be content.
God, I love that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
Right.
completely agree. I think a lot of people just miss that step, right? If we're talking about like the basic building blocks of being successful, being happy, just being alive, right? People miss that step, and then they live, like you said, in a state of complacency forever. And some people, like, that works for them.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not the one to judge, like, different
No,
strokes for different
no
folks, and
judgment.
that's fine. But
Yeah.
I do agree with you 100% that I think as our souls feed and crave adventure, excitement, learning, new experiences, new people, seeing new people, talking to new people, going to new places, like finding that purpose. And I believe firmly that humans are on this earth for two reasons. One, to reproduce. That's what it
Hmm.
is, right? Every animal out there, the goal is to reproduce. Two, to better our species and gene pool, right? So
Hmm.
to make it easier for the younger generations. But what I mean by that is it's like evolution kind of in a way. And I'm a spiritual guy myself, but I think they go hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
People's purpose, and some people's purposes in life, they may know it or they maybe they don't, but somebody out there is going to cure cancer, and that's that person's purpose.
Right.
And that's what it's all about, in my
Hmm.
opinion. But
Well, I think too, no fault to anyone's, it's kind of what society, at least in America, has conditioned us to do, right? Especially, the three of us, I think we're around the same age in our generation. We were told you get good grades in high school, you graduate high school, you go to college, you get the job, you get married, you have the kids, and then you work this job the rest of your life in this same industry. So it really is hard sometimes for people to go outside of that, right? To push those boundaries, to question what our parents taught us, because that's what they know, right? And that's what every society deems as a good life and a stable life, and stability and security, right? Is like a craving for a lot of people. I mean, it is for me too. Like I crave as a human to be stable and secure, but sometimes we have to push past that fear of the unknown for that fulfillment, right? Because I truly believe these ideas you have in your head, these emotions that you have, this pull to feel fulfilled is coming from a higher source, from a higher power. It's not just you making it up out of nowhere. It is for a reason at the right time when you're ready to like experience this new thing.
yeah, I completely agree with you 100%. And I always call that, and people use this term in the last like 2 years different ways, but I've always explained what you just talked about, being stuck in the matrix, right?
Yeah.
People want to call it the American dream. I don't think that's what the American dream was designed for. The American dream is simply pursuit of happiness in whatever way you see fit. Okay.
Right.
Me, I love to hunt and fish. Okay. So my
Mhm.
pursuit of happiness would be to get in a place in my life where I could own 300 acres and hunt and fish as often as I want and not have to worry about having a 9 to 5 or commuting or
Right.
dealing with, BS and daily mundane tasks, right? So
Yeah.
that's for me, right? That's my pursuit of happiness. Everybody is on their own journey, but I agree
Yeah.
with you 100%. I think your purpose truly reveals itself to you when you're ready.
Oh, for sure.
That could
100%.
be when you're 65, that could be when you're 27 like myself, that could be when you're 33 like Matt. I mean, it just depends on whenever pretty much all the stars align and it's just the right time.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that.
So tell me this, like I think we all agree, obviously escaping the matrix is the goal here, right?
Mhm.
Or
Mhm.
living your own version of the American dream. How do you help your clients and your people you work with do that?
I mean, it's different for everyone that I work with. My work is really custom to like, I used to have where I had like a 12-week program and then we had this thing, but for me it's more custom to what it is they need. Some people their goal is to make more money. Some people is to find their purpose, like their higher purpose or start a business or just be happy in their life, right? So it really is first identifying where they currently are at in their mindset, in their life, and then identifying where they want to go. And then we, have to figure out what it is that we want to shift in your identity to be that other version of yourself. It's not, I don't like to say it's a better version of yourself. It's just a different version, right? Because every version you are is perfect no matter where you are in your time. But you want to level up to this higher frequency, right? This new place to experience more in life. So we have to identify what we need to let go of to make space in your life for the newness. So it is a lot of inner work when you work with me and my clients. We go deep in to see what it is we can release and what beliefs and limiting beliefs that you may have that we need to shift in order for you to step in this next level of yourself. And then really it is learning about creating our own reality and how we are creators of our own reality because, manifestation got this really big hype like, oh, I need to learn how to manifest. And, I'm not manifesting. Well, we're always manifesting. We just don't know it, right? We're always creating our reality. So learning how you can, change your perspectives, change your language, change your beliefs to create this experience you want to experience. So that's kind of like what we really have to do in order for you to step into the next level. And it's embodying that new person that you want to become and being that person now. Because it's like, instead of saying, I'll believe it when I see it, it's, I will see it when I believe it. Right. So it has to start with the belief in yourself, your abilities, and like that this thing that you desire, this life you desire is already yours.
Yeah, I think you're right. So, to piggyback off that, right, Elizabeth, and this is proven in science already. So just to kind of validate your point, the universe's language, other than mathematics, is frequency and vibrations. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Energy, if you will, right? Energy,
Yes.
energy, energy is the key word. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transferred, right?
Correct.
So
Mm-hmm.
in this case, I think you're right. When people create their own realities, and I love when you said that. When you create your own reality and put that energy towards making that reality come to life, I mean, the sky's the limit, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and in a nutshell, as far as physics go, anything that you've already wanted to do in one universe or parallel universe, you've already done it.
Yeah.
So
It
to
already
make it,
exists.
you've already existed, right? Everything that's ever been said, everything that's ever been done, everything that's ever existed ever has existed in another plane of existence, right? As weird as that sounds. But
Right.
so why not? Why there's no reason why manifesting it the right way would not be able to make it come to life in this life.
Yeah, I mean, really, I feel like there's a lot of things that go into that. And so there's, a lot of times when people want something so bad, we're actually resisting it. We're actually pushing it away because we're so dependent on it. So we call it like joyful expectation. Like, I would love this to happen, but I know that if it doesn't happen right now, I'm still okay. Like, I'm still content and happy with where I'm at now and grateful for everything I have in my life now. And you're right, like there is no such thing as space and time. It's something we've constructed as humans, right? And made up. So really you can, as they call quantum leap or, jump timelines and bring things into your reality the instant. But it really does take you becoming a vibrational match to that thing. So we can only bring into our reality and attract into our reality what we are a vibrational match to. So if you're sitting here talking down to yourself and, you know, saying I'm lazy, or I'm broke, or I'm, you know, all whatever negative things you're telling yourself, that's what you're going to continue to recreate in your reality. So that's why we shift our identity into becoming that person that we want to become now. And that's when it starts to come to us, because we've become a vibrational match to it and match that frequency of that thing that we want to experience in our life.
100%. Funny enough, we're talking about this. I just had this conversation with Matt last week. Remember when we talked about, and this is the first time Matt ever heard this perspective. I said, hey man, you want to hear something really fucking crazy? I was like, space and time isn't real.
No.
I was like, and he's like, what do you mean? So I study, and just to give you a background, Elizabeth, I study astrophysics all the time.
Okay.
I'm actually in the works of typing up this paper for this propulsion system that it's never gonna go anywhere, but it's just an idea I have that I want to put my thoughts onto paper, essentially. So I study astrophysics all the time, and like all that did to me was, one, increase my faith in my religion. That's all it did. And two, it made me realize that there's so many limitations that are created by man-made constructions.
Yeah.
That make no fucking sense, right? So like, if I ask my dog what time it is, he's not gonna know, right? Humans are the only ones that really care about time, right? And years and dates and all that stuff, right? It's just funny how the universe existed for however long before us on its own scale. And you know, it's just, I don't know, just not to go on a tangent there, but when we had that conversation, Matt, I feel like your mind was kind of blown out. You were like, wow, this is pretty weird to hear, but it's true. Unfortunately,
I feel like it takes some time to wrap your brain around that, and how, like, you know, when you have deja vu, I'm sure everyone's experienced it. It's because you've actually already experienced that, whether it be in like a dream state or in a different, you know, universe, whatever, you know, timeline. It's funny because we're just reading about this in my morning study group. We were reading Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. It's book number 2 we're reading today. And he talks about time. The chapter we read about was time. And he was saying that, like, time, you know, time is not linear. It's like, it's vertical, like a spiral notebook, right? So it's already all there. It's just, where are you at on that timeline? You know, where do you want to go to? Because it's all connected. It's all one. So it's not like this thing where we have to build, you have to go over here, right? It's not linear. It's all just one.
Yeah, I've always thought of time as like a spider web, right? Like you can go, it's like all over the place. It's not linear by any means, right? I mean, people like, since everything that you've already said, you know, done, it's already been done in a different universe, right? Like you can enter in different timelines on accident, right? So like, let's say I decided to take my wife's car to work instead of my truck, right? Well, I just created a new timeline, whole different set of events. Like, do I die in this timeline? Do I get a flat tire? Do I have to get gas? You know, it's just endless billions and trillions and a quantum number of possibilities in the timeline. It's crazy to think about, dude. It hurts your brain. It really hurts your brain. But there is a infinite amount of possibilities for anything that you've ever said or done, any decision you ever make.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. It's free will. We can always change it, right? I mean, I believe we incarnate in lifetimes, you know, maybe wanting to experience certain things, you know, in this certain body, this certain human, this experience, but that doesn't mean I can't change it, you know, because of free will. That's part of the human experience.
That's right. That's so right. So I want to dial it back a little bit. So that was a pretty good, awesome segment there. I like talking space and time. So was there I know you said earlier about, you know, like kind of lacking purpose, and that's what it was. So when you deal with some of your clients, right, part of what you said is processing. So I'm assuming some of these clients come to you with just some heavy trauma, right? And then you have to start there essentially to have them let their go, correct?
Yeah.
So what does that process look like? I mean, Matt and I both have experienced pretty rough upbringings, you know. So like, whenever you meet somebody with a severe trauma, you know, like I know you said every approach is custom and tailored, of course, but what does that look like as far as having them let go of that trauma?
So there's different ways to do it, right? You know, first, of course, I want to make sure everyone's safe and if they're ready for me, right? Because they have to be ready to let it go. A lot of times I feel when people go through trauma, they identify with that and it becomes their story, and that's okay. But they keep being a victim to that trauma. So we don't have to be a victim to that trauma. We can learn from it and take what we learn from it and be able to help or inspire others on how to move past it and live like this beautiful, you know, life that you can build, and not let that dictate who you are as a person. So, you know, just for example, one healing modality I use is called silent counseling, and it is a form of rapid emotional release. And so we go through and we store emotions in our bodies when we don't deal with them, right? They get stored in our bodies and they manifest in different ways, such as like physical pain or ailments or emotional outbursts, whatever it is. And so we want to go through and find where that stored emotion is and release them from our body through breath work and acupressure on the meridian points. That's another thing. And again, really just allowing yourself to feel these emotions, bring them up to the surface. And this part is not always fun. Like I always tell my clients, like, the first couple of weeks working with me may not feel great, but and the other side, it's going to be so worth it because we're bringing all the shit up to the surface so we can release it and almost find the gratitude and I know people hate when people say that, find the silver lining, but really what did this do for you rather than what did this do to you? So it kind of changing that perspective on how this actually helped me shape my life as a human being and made me stronger and how I can help other people rather than this happened to me. Also knowing that, like I said just a few moments ago, I truly believe we incarnate in this world to experience certain things. So knowing that you chose these experiences to go through and for these things to happen because there were certain lessons that you wanted to learn as a soul. There were certain things that you wanted to grow in. So for me, when I have that perspective, I know that like these things happen for a reason in my life instead of blaming other people and being like, this sucks. Why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? Right? There's no such thing really as like the karma where like, okay, I was bad in this lifetime and now in this next lifetime, I'm going to be, punished forever and all these horrible things are going to happen to me. But maybe you had a really great life in the last life where everything worked out perfectly. So now your soul wants to experience what it's like to not have those pleasant experiences, because without the darkness, there would be no light. So we have to have those kinds of challenges in our life because also that's how we grow. That's how we expand. We grow in the challenges. So does that make sense a little bit about how, we work through that?
No, it
Oh, yeah.
does. It definitely makes sense. And I love that explanation. So I have a question about that, right? So, is there ever a end result where a spirit or soul, whatever you want to call it, has reached its pinnacle and it's like its thirst for knowledge is done and it can rest, if you will? Does it ever get to that point or no?
I wish I had that answer for you, but I don't know because I have not, and they call it like enlightenment, right?
Right.
And I think we can be enlightened whenever we desire to, but there's always that, yearning for more growth. So I wish I had a better answer but I don't because I don't know it all. I'm not enlightened 100%, but I'm becoming more and more aware of, that experience. If you ask the mystics and everything like that, they'll say, like Jesus Christ and Buddha were enlightened teachers, right? And maybe they've gone, through all of their lifetimes and they can rest, they can be done. I don't know. But again, there's no such thing as space and time. So who knows, right? Like who knows if it's all just at once and I know it's mind blowing, but I don't know how I feel. I do feel like there'd be like a longer period of time where you were just being as a spirit, whatever heaven is to you, or that there's so many different perspectives. There's people that say there's heaven. There's people that say there's like the waiting period where they're just kind of hanging out as a soul with your soul families and all the other things and just in bliss. So there's also different galaxies that you can incarnate as. So there's that.
I have a question though. To kind of go back, whenever you said that people were dealing with trauma and you were trying to find to help them release it, what do you mean by releasing, or what's that? What is that? The release?
I mean, releasing this trauma that it has a hold over you, right? Where now because of this trauma you've been through, you may react a certain way and be triggered by certain things. So, you know, a lot of times people will say, well, this person hurt me. And, you know, my feelings were hurt by this person, or I'm so deeply wounded because of this situation. So we want to release and forgive. And for like, forgiveness is really key, right? Love heals all. So another thing that we do is we send love to those we feel that have harmed us, you know, because when you do that, it's releasing this anger that you have there towards them as well. Because at the end of the day, love is actually going to help you move on, and love will actually help build that connection back. Because if they've done something that low level where like someone in your life has actually physically harmed you or something like that, they obviously need love, right? They also obviously would benefit from their vibration being raised. So releasing can be done in so many different ways. Like there's so many different ways you can release. It's finding what works best for you, because what may work well for you may work well for Nate, right? Some people can release things easily and others can't. So how is it, you know, finding you where you can find the best way to let go of that thing that hurt you and no longer allow it to affect your life? And that's what I always say when people are like, well, they hurt my feelings. No, you're allowing the opinions of others to hurt you because there's something in your self-confidence or, you know, self-conscious that you're about that triggered you, right? Like if someone said to you, like, you're ugly, but you think you're hot as shit, you'd be like, screw you. I'm not ugly. You're not letting them hurt you, right? But if your self-confidence is down low and someone said you're ugly, you'd be like, oh my gosh, you're right. I'm so ugly. And you've hurt my feelings. So it really is looking at where you are in your self-confidence and all those things to allow this thing to keep dictating the way you react in life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I know me and Nate, we kind of mentioned that we had a little bit of a difficult upbringing, and it kind of just made me think of my own, you know, my own situation and just how that was related to the process that you just mentioned. Is there just different, like, because I feel like a person could be super confident in one thing and then lacking
Yeah.
the confidence in another. How do you find that balance to help bring them all up? Or is it, I don't know, like, is there any type of exercises that you
Sure.
go
I
through?
mean, just like a simple thing, you know, is we do like my clients sometimes will do a we used to call it a self-image script, but maybe we'll call it a self-love script. And we're not going to put things on there that you already believe to be true about yourself. So if you already believe that like you're, you know, good at your job, or you're confident, or you're strong, or whatever, you're not going to put those on there. We're going to put things on there that you're struggling with, right? Like, you know, you maybe not letting go of your hurt, or allowing the opinions of others to affect you, or allowing the things in your childhood to continue to affect you in your life. And we're going to create affirmations around those, right? So, you know, saying things in the present tense with I am able to release everything that no longer serves me for my highest good, with ease and flow. And we put those in like a document, whatever it is, whatever you want to affirm to be true about your life.
Yeah.
You know, it could be, I'm a millionaire. It could be, I'm successful at everything that I do. I'm confident when I speak, like whatever it is that you want to be true in your identity. And then we're going to record ourselves saying this. Like you're going to stand up and you're going to be strong, and you're going to record yourself saying all of these different things you want to be true about yourself, you know, that you want to merge with that belief. And you're going to listen to it every day, like, you know, maybe even 3 times a day, until you start to merge with those beliefs and raise yourself up. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And it's funny because back in my college days, whenever I was becoming a nurse, while I was in nursing school, I had a tendency of having self-doubts of, you know, I'm not smart enough, I'm not going to be able to make success, blah, blah, blah. So I had to reach out to one of my good friends, Lisa, and one of her exercises was the affirmations, you know, and, you know, every day I woke up, went to the, you know, did my routine, got to the mirror and got in that Superman pose.
Superman pose. Yep.
And then looked in the mirror and said my affirmation like 3 to 4 times. And I cannot express enough how much that changed my day. Like it just
Yeah.
set the tone. You know, I went to study and got to hit the books, and when it came to test time, um, I did well. And each
Yeah.
time I did that, in each test, it just got better and better and better. And I just want to express that it does change. It does change. You have to keep thinking it and having that willpower that you want to do it. So I think
For
that's great.
sure. It's whatever you're focusing on is where your attention goes, right? I mean, it's like the, 101, manifestation 101, like your thoughts produce your reality. So where are you focusing your thoughts? So we want to change those thoughts to ones that are going to serve you for your highest good. And I would like to stress the important thing with affirmations is actually feeling the emotion that is tied to that emotion. So how do you feel like when you say I'm confident, right? Like if you just say I'm confident, I'm strong, like without any emotion tied to it, it kind of is actually like a waste of time and like not really going to change your inner being. So we really want to tap into those emotions and take time to feel what you're saying, not just reciting them just to get them done. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I probably should add a little bit more emotion to it because that's probably something I didn't even think about. But I'm sure that would definitely make a different impact. I think initially I probably did it because I was kind of like gun strong, but I think throughout time and after school, of course, I just kind of
Yeah.
lost that. Here lately, I have changed it up, my affirmation, but I definitely started to include that into my day. Thank you.
Good. Yeah, definitely. It's beautiful.
Actually, I was telling Nate about talking to him, getting into affirmations. Right, Nate?
I don't need to. My ego is off the fucking charts already. I can't get in there.
That's amazing.
I'm serious. I'm tough. I'm fucking tough as nails as far as my skin goes. Like somebody could say anything they want from me. It doesn't. It's right off my back. Like
Mhm.
I just always and people have asked me like, I mean, they're like, dude, they're just so heartless. I'm like, no, I'm not, man. I just don't care what other people think. Like I've been through more shit than anybody that I've ever met can put me through. Like the problems that I face as a 27-year-old man is nothing in comparison to the problems I faced as a 12-year-old guy, as a 12-year-old kid or as a 6-year-old kid. Like I've already been through hell and back. So like nothing else that comes down my way is going to even hinder my step whatsoever. I mean, because I've already been through the worst. Like everything, this is all a layup for me. Every challenge I face nowadays, I'm like, oh, this is nothing. But
Yeah.
it's just
So
kind of
look at how that trauma and that experience has prepared you for adulthood to be able to face
absolutely.
challenges without freaking out or worried. You're like, oh, I got this. This is easy. Like
Yeah.
it's a breeze now because I've been through this already. And
Yeah.
it may have sucked, like it may have not been comfortable and to have a childhood like that, but now it's prepares you for what you have coming forward.
You're absolutely right. And it's all about what you said earlier, right? It's all about perception and perspective, right? It's
Yeah.
all about that. Because like my wife's always like, how are you always just so cool, calm, and collected when terrible shit happens? And I'm just like, because I've seen terrible shit 1,000 times. Like this, if I see somebody killed in front of me, it doesn't bother me. Like I'm going to figure out how to protect us in the situation.
Right.
Like if somebody came in and shot this guy in front of me, like I would react accordingly. I wouldn't freak out and panic because we've been in some situations where like, car accidents, right? And like everybody's freaking out and panicking. And I'm like already have an action plan together, already doing things to, kind of figure out the situation to solve the problem. Right. And it's from what you said, my past traumas have geared my brain to be so resistant to stress. It's more so of just like a problem solving game rather than a panic.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said earlier, it's all about perception. It has to be, that's all it is.
Well, right. And also I would, like to add to that too. It's about the meaning you give things, because like you said, like, oh yeah, this is terrible, but maybe what if we didn't say it was terrible, right?
Right.
It just is what it is. Like that this happened, but we decide what is good and bad, right? And so like I use this situation all the time, which is so, not it's just funny. Like my husband loves Taco Bell and I despise it, right? So like it's really good to him, but it's not to me. So it really is all like relative. What is good is bad. So we don't have to give meaning to anything. Like I could be like, okay, it's just Taco Bell, but I don't want it. Like, right? You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
know that's a really like stupid analogy.
No, but it's true. Cause like I'm the same way in my head. Like every time I have a difficult situation, it's never like oh, poor me, right? It's never like that. It's like, what am I learning from this? Right? Like
Yeah.
what am I gauging from this? What am I learning from this? Like, how is this going to make me better? Like all the difficult times and trials and tribulations I've had to go through has made me into a decent person, I think, you know, which is
Mhm.
cool. But like all the different challenges that are coming up in my life, I'm sure there'll be many, many more. It's never going to be like, oh, this sucks. I have to do this. This is my mindset's always been like, what a blessing it is for me to get to do this, right? No matter what it is, right? Like what a blessing it is for me to be able to do this, and what am I going to learn from it? You know?
Yeah. And that's beautiful awareness because that's not the case for a lot of people. So, you know, but it is about helping others see that, right? And being able to learn that perspective too. So they too can be in that place where it's no longer being in this victim, you know, energy, but rather in, you know, the stronger energy and the creator.
Yeah, no doubt. Look at the difference here. Like Matt and I, you know, both had pretty similar childhoods actually. Matt struggles before with some confidence issues, and I have the fucking ego of God bless the Boz from the, you know, the Seahawks in the 90s, right? So like I have a huge ego and Matt had issues with self-confidence. And we were able to learn a lot from each other just having conversations. You know, it's a yin and a yang, right?
Yep.
And he was able to teach me a ton of stuff and I hope I was able to reciprocate that. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
you know, everybody's different in that regard, but playing to your strengths and, you know, really having that strong perspective is, I mean, that's half the battle, to be honest.
For sure. 100%.
Oh man,
So
that's
I,
great.
I know that you're a co-author that we had talked about previously. You want to share about the book that you helped write?
Yeah, so I co-wrote a book with 3 other coaches, mindset coaches, called Manifesting with Purpose, Aligning to Your Soul's Desires. And it became international bestseller 2 days after release. We released it about a year ago. And then just recently, which is behind me, the smaller book, and the book behind it is the journal that we wrote along with it. So we really love our book because what's different about our book is at the end of each chapter is a chapter in practice. So we give you like questions and journal prompts to really actually apply the information within the book. And there's
Oh, I love
different
that.
chapters all about, you know, manifestation and mindset, how to help you basically manifest your dream life. And so like it's almost like a working book. And then the journal is just like, you know, a daily gratitude manifestation journal where you know, do your daily gratitude where you write 5 things you're grateful for, however many you want. And then we have you write your daily goal. We believe in goals, goal setting, and having a goal that you're focused on moving towards, you know, moving towards something bigger. And then other things you want to manifest, you can write affirmations in there. And there's also space to like free write. So I don't know if you guys are big in journaling, but you know, there's this, we call it like a brain dump, right? Like sometimes you just need to release things out of your mind and get them down on paper or just write whatever you want. You don't have to do it, but we like the ability to do both, to have that like organization of these things that are going to help improve your mindset and your manifestation ability. And then also just to relax and free write whatever ideas come to you. So yeah, we started together in a mastermind, and one day one of the authors, Jessica West, was like, hey, does anyone want to write a book? And we're like, sure, like, let's do it. What should we write about? And so that's kind of how it came about.
I love that.
Excellent.
I love that you incorporated that into your book because I used to get in trouble in school for this all the time because I would write all over my book.
Yeah.
You know, my thoughts and like my, you know, whatever. I think they call them annotations. Is that what they call them? That's just an excuse a fancy word to say stop writing in my book.
Oh, okay.
But I love that you guys incorporate that because people's thoughts are in the moments, right? And they need to write down how they felt in the moment because otherwise they'll forget. But
Right.
if they write it down and like how impactful maybe that section was, right? Like that's a life lesson that's going to be ingrained in their brain. So that's the best way for them to actually, you know, get the most value, in my opinion, from your book.
Well, right, because how often do you read a book and then you don't really do anything with what you just learned? So it's kind of like really embodying everything you're actually reading in the book and learning so you can actually apply it to your daily life to start improving your life, right? So it's
100%.
like manifestation mindset 101.
Yeah, I read a ton of books and you know, for me, one rule every day when I read or if I do the audiobook when I'm working out, whatever, there will be a golden, I always call it the golden nugget. There'll be a golden
Yeah.
nugget that I get from that day and I have to implement it into my life that day. I have to. It's the rule.
Yeah.
Right? If not, I have to go back through the same chapter or same passage and do it again
Mhm.
until I add it into my day. Because you're so right. I mean, that's the only way you're going to learn those habits.
Oh yeah.
That's the only way to do it.
Definitely.
I love
Where
that.
is where's your book? Where can we find it? If we, if nobody want to pick it out up there, I mean, I think it'd be a great read. So where can people find it?
It's on Amazon. So, just, you could go, and my links, I'm sure we'll post them later, but, my website, I have a link to it on my website, the book on Amazon, the journal's on Amazon as well.
Fantastic. Are you in any stores?
Not big box stores. We're just in our local stores, like our local, crystal shops and libraries and different little local stores around.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes those are the best experiences.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, for sure.
What else? So you said your website as well. Are you currently like accepting more clients as well?
Yeah, so my website's just my name, elizabethplancon.com. I have single sessions where I have an intuitive activation reading where it's more of like a psychic reading, and where I'm channeling, I, answer questions that you may need, but also do some coaching and also do light language activations. So for those of you that are not familiar with light language, it basically is where our original soul is from a different galaxy. We call ourselves starseeds. And so it's kind of like this intergalactic language. And so my language has the ability to activate people in their purpose and their potential, or basically whatever the intention I'm setting it for. And so I do those on my single sessions as well as my one-on-one clients. And then I also have the silent counseling healing sessions, which I talked about earlier, where we're releasing those stored emotions. And then I have one-on-one coaching containers, which are 3 to 6 months, depending on what their needs are, where I'm meeting with people every week, and, they have availability, they have access to me during the week, where I'm helping them really shift their lives into a new level, depending on what that is. Like today, I had a client where we were supposed to do an activation for her, and we got on the call, and she was having trouble letting go and feeling guilt of this thing and couldn't let go. And I was like, you know what, we're not doing the activation today. We need to do a healing. So that's what I love about my work, because it is custom, that like we're not just like have to sit, like go to this schedule, to this program, this is what we have to do. It's what you need in the moment to help you progress and to grow.
I love that, because I think you're right. I think some days people are going to need a healing more than they're going to need the other one, right?
For
And
sure.
everybody's different. Everybody's emotions are always different, right? It's a evolving organism. I always say, people's emotions. And I love that you come to that with that approach and like, hey, sorry, because imagine if I came through and just had the worst day ever, my mom died, dad died, whatever, and we're supposed to do this positive thing, but my mind, my body's just not into it. And you're just like, hey, sorry, we have to stick to the script. Like, sorry, we have to move on. This is week 6 agenda. We have to do this, right?
Right.
It would set the foundation would be all fucked up, right? I
It
love that
wouldn't
you
do
come to-
anything. It'd be a waste of time and energy on everyone's
That's right.
point, because your body is not like, it's like your body can't hold it and calibrate it, right? Because
That's
it's
right.
dealing with this thing that's right now at the surface, and it would just completely reject it. So
Yeah.
we really have to like pay attention to our bodies and what it's telling us, what we need in the moment.
Yeah, I love that you're going to that approach, because I think it's a day to day, right? It's a day to day. And if you get to that portion where all the stars align and everything's feeling good and you're feeling good and you're ready to take that leap of faith, like you said, then hell yeah, let's do it. But, if they're not ready, I'm glad that your approach is to, counsel them through that and get them through that, rather than, make them bite off more than they can chew.
For sure.
Last question for you really quick, because I know we're getting close on time. If you could pick like an ideal client, who do you want to work with the most?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh, it really is a good question, because like I originally started, like I want to help people that are just ready to change their life, and completely help shift their mindset. But I want to work with someone that's ready to put in the work. Like I want people in my, messenger every single day, like telling me what's going on and like asking me to help them on a daily basis. So they're applying the work every single day, not just once a week when we get together. So I want those clients that are really ready to do the work on a daily basis, to grow and evolve, and are ready to change their lives for the better, whatever that looks like for you, whether it be a new purpose, a new job, more money, more happiness, better health, like just, better state of mind. It doesn't matter, but you have to be willing to do the work, right? I want the people that are going to show up and are ready to actually make the shift and be accountable for it, right?
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I mean, it's a give and take, right? So like you could be the best coach out there, but if they do not put in the effort as well, it's all for nothing. I mean,
Right.
I could have the best weightlifting coach ever, but if I'm half-assing my reps, I'm never going to get any stronger, right? I
Right.
could have the best dietitian, but if I'm still eating junk food, I'm never going to lose any weight. I mean, it's a partnership, and it's what it is, right? Like I said, I
Right.
love your approach. I think that's the best way to do it. And I mean, I'm the same way in my practice of business. I want to work with people as well that are ready to be aggressive and take over their market and grow their business, right? I don't want the people
Yeah.
that are like, oh, Nate, well, I want to make $1 million this year. And then I ask them how they plan to get there and they can't tell me. I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Like, how are we going to get there, right? You're telling me we're on a boat right now. You want to get to paradise. You got no directions of how to get there.
Right.
It makes
Well,
no
and
sense.
I think that's something that, you're going to help people with, is help them find their direction, because a lot of times people want these things, but they have no idea how to get there. And
That's right.
really the how isn't up to us. We have to believe what we want, we can achieve, and then it will be shown to us, right? The right mentors will come into our lives, like the right opportunities. Well, we have to be open, but it takes that, energy, but also taking action. So taking inspired action, right? Moving towards your goals while also attracting them towards you. But it's that both things. We can't just be one or the other.
That's so true. Yin and yang. That's simply
Yeah.
what it is. Well, I
Yeah.
think that is a good part for us to kind of part ways here. I loved meeting with you. I think it was an awesome what you do for people, and I'm looking forward to learning more about you and checking out the book, of course. And obviously, guys, if anybody's made it this far to the end of episode 24, I should say, check out her website. Definitely find the book on Amazon. It's got our stamp of approval. I think there's a lot of value in there, and
Yeah.
I think out there as well, if you are accepting new clients, I think if people are out there struggling to find their purpose, kind of something that I similar dealt with, reach out to her. There's a lot of value there in getting her perspective and going down that path to figure out your purpose and just be better.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again, guys. If you made it this far, like, subscribe, whatever you do. If you have any questions for us, need help, send us a message, but definitely check out Elizabeth and all her stuff. And thanks for joining us.